Hey there, crew. Today we're going to start making our loom to design our Kente cloth, like our textile weaving, which is originated in Africa. So hopefully you've watched the slideshow and some of the stories that go along with it, and then we can start making our loom. So to make our loom, you're going to need a piece of paper. Bigger the better. Mine's 12 by 18. It can be any color your heart desires. I went with black because I like the look of black, and if you remember from the slideshow, black kind of stands for bold, intense energy in the Kente cloth colors. So I chose black. You're going to want to fold it in half, not the tall, skinny, vertical way, but we want to kind of turn our paper horizontal, sideways, and then fold it in half so it's almost like it's a book. So we're going to go edge to edge. Once you line up your edges, just so, you want to make them even, you're then going to press down and make that crease to make a flat. Flat crease, fold, open it up like a book, boom. Then, next step, turn it back so it's having the flap or opening of the book at the top. All right, it's very important that the opening is at the top for this loom to work. So again, a loom is just a tool used for weaving. So we're not going to use actual fabric like the original Kente cloth makers would use, but we are going to weave with paper, so our loom will be made of paper too. So, opening, tip top. Then we're going to use a handy dandy tool called the ruler. And since my paper is 12 by 18, we know this shorter edge is also 12 inches, and our ruler is also 12 inches. So it's going to be important that we line our ruler up at the very tip top. Line it up perfectly, hold it down flat, and then we're going to drag our pencil across to create a straight edge. Now, you can't see that line very well on the screen, so I will hold my ruler there again, and maybe I'll use a silver Sharpie so it'll show up a little better for you on the screen. So again, hold my ruler down flat at the very tip top of my opening, and then drag my pencil across. You want to use your pencil so you can keep it light till you get it right. I just use a silver Sharpie because, boom, you can see that a lot better. Then, in the classroom, we always put our name in class code. So up in that box, I'm going to put my name. So I'm going to write Mr. Gove up there. You can write your name in there if you would like as well. So in that top box, making sure that the opening is at the top, make that line. You can put your name in the box if you want. Boom. Then we are going to use our ruler again to create some tick marks. Now we want to think about fractions. So we want to break this bottom part into 4 equal pieces. So 4 equal pieces. Think of a number that might go into 12 4 equal times. So I'm thinking of a number. Are you thinking of a number? I'm thinking of the number 3. Let's see if that can go into 12 4 times. So we'll count by threes. 3, 6, 9, 12. 3, 6, 9, 12. That went in 4 times. So if you were thinking of 3, bravo. All right, so I'm going to put my ruler up close to my first line, and a tick mark is just like a little mark next to the number that you're measuring. Not a full long line, just a little tick. So I line up my ruler, my paper's 12 inches long, so I'm going to put a little tick mark at the number 3, tick. 3 plus 3, 6. So a little tick mark at 6. 6 plus 3, 9. A little tick mark there. 9 plus 3, 12. Now, I don't need to put a tick mark there because it's the edge of my paper. So, boom. I'm going to go over my tick mark with my silver Sharpie again, just so you can see it better. So, 3 tick marks, but it broke it up into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. All right. You'll see it even more clearly when I move my ruler down below. So, our folded edge, it's at the bottom of my paper. Line it up perfectly. Now we're going to make those tick marks again every 3 inches. So we're going to measure to the 3, tick mark, tick, 3 plus 3, 6, tick mark. 6 plus 3, 9, tick mark. 9 plus 3 gets me 12 at the very edge of my paper. Now, my tick marks, since I measured correctly to the best of my abilities, will be directly across from each other on the top and the bottom. But I don't want to just freehand my lines because they won't be perfectly straight. The way to make sure they're perfectly straight is to use your tools. So tools are there to help you. So you're going to line up your number 3-inch tick marks. You can line them up so that you can see both of them. And then hold it down tight. Then you with your pencil, I'll use my silver Sharpie just so you can see it better. Hold down that ruler flat and tight, and then drag your pencil across. Connect your tick marks. There's one section, even 3 inches wide. Then we'll go to our 6-inch tick marks, which is halfway between 12. Connect. Then my 9-inch tick marks. I hold my ruler down flat and connect. Now, we went 3-inch, 6-inch, 9-inch, 12-inch. Let's see if we have 4 even sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got it into quarters, 4 even sections. Now, the next part, you're going to need another tool, a pair of scissors. With the scissors, we are going to cut our lines, but not the first line that we made. I'm actually going to put an X on that line so I know that I stop at that line. So you don't want to cut into the box that has your name in it. I put an X there just so I know, stop, don't go past that line, or it won't be a true loom. You'll just be cutting strips of paper. We want to stop at that line right there. So I'm going to grab my scissors. And this is exactly why it was important that the opening is up at the tip top. You'll see why. So I made a nice straight line, so I'm going to try to cut a nice straight line. Cut, 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 cut. Stop. Stop at that line. I'm going to do it again. Cut, 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 cut. Stop. One more. And I'm a cut, 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 cut. Stop. So I cut those 3 lines. I can put my scissors off to the side, stopped by my name. Now when I open it up, it's kind of like a wave. So I kept that, or I stopped at that line so that it wouldn't go all the way across. So it's created a wave, and now you're going to be able to weave through that loom. Over, under, over, hello, boom. So the loom is complete. So think of that as like step 1 or day 1. Put it off to the side. Next, you get to pick different colored papers. So the different colors could just be your favorite colors, or you could put complementary colors on the color wheel, or warm colors or cool colors, or you could pick based on what they symbolize based on the African Kente Cloth legend. So in the slideshow, you can go back and look and see what colors you might want to use based on what they symbolize or represent, or you could just pick your favorite colors or whatever colors your heart desires. So I picked another 12 by 18 inch paper. It's important that you pick kind of the same size paper as your loom, and then turn it sideways. So if you have to pick at least 2 different colors because we're going to make like a checkerboard. If you wanted more colors, that's okay too, but at least 2. I'm just going to start with orange here. Now we are going to measure and cut strips that are the same width as our loom. So if you remember, our loom, we went every 3 inches, so like 3, 6, 9, 12. We're going to do the same thing again. So I'm going to put my paper horizontal, because my loom is horizontal. Then I'm going to put my ruler down at the very bottom, and I'm going to measure and do little tick marks. 3, Oh, I'll use a Sharpie this time again so that you can see it. A 3, a 6, a 9, and this time I'll go to 12. See those little tick marks down there? Every 3 inches. Then go up to the tip top. We got a 3, we got a 6, we got a 9, we got a 12. So tick marks at the top measured the same distance as the bottom, 3 inches. And then we will line those babies up. Hold your ruler down flat and connect. Now this time you will cut your strips all the way across because we do need them separated. The loom we didn't want to completely separate or it wouldn't work, so that's why we stopped with a little bit of room at the top, actually 1 inch at the top where we wrote our name. But this time we're going to cut all the way through. So, and you could keep going and measure more every 3 inches if you wanted more of the strips of the same cutoff. So, once you measure this time, you're just going to cut, 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 and get colored strips. All right? So, let's say I was super fancy and cut some beforehand, so I have some turquoise, some green, and now an orange. And I have my loom. So you'll open up your loom, you'll pick out your strips, and you'll kind of want to create a pattern. So right now, I could choose like an orange, turquoise, green, but I don't have another orange. So I'm going to put orange off to the side. I could go turquoise, green, and then turquoise, green. That would make a pattern. So you're going to start underneath your loom, and then you're going to pop out that first slot. See it pop out? And then the next one, if you went under your first one, you go over your next one, then back under, and then pop out and go over. See how it kind of makes a pattern? So now, since I started underneath, it goes black, blue, or turquoise. Next I'll do green, but this time I want to be the opposite of blue. So I'm going to start over, then go under, pop out, over, and then I end up under. So now it's kind of a pattern or like a checkerboard. So now it's like black, green, turquoise, black, turquoise, oh goodness, green, black, turquoise, black. All right. So then next in my pattern would be turquoise again, and I would start under, pop up over, go under, and boom. So just like the first time when I went with turquoise. Then green, over, under, over, under. Now I have a little bit of room left here at the end. So I could cut a turquoise, I could cut a green, or I could decide to add in my orange. So I could have a random orange at the end, or if I wanted it centered, I could just kind of switch it out here. Now let's see if I come up with a problem. All right. Well, I want to do the opposite of the green, so it's black next. So I would do over and under and over. But look, my blue or my turquoise and orange are right next to each other, so I would have to switch those and weave the opposite of my orange with turquoise, and then problem solve again and weave the opposite with my green. So you can just kind of play around with the color order that you want, or the color options that you want, and pattern that you want, and then just weave it through. Just remember to go opposite, over, under, because you don't want them to line up right next to each other. All right? Once you have that figured out, then you can make a spider if you want, like from the story, the spider weaver. So I'll show you how to make a symmetrical spider. So I chose a yellow piece of paper. We are going to fold it in half again, like so. Once you fold it in half, you keep it folded, and this time you don't want to work on the opening, you want to work on the fold. So, how many legs does a spider have? 8. But if we're only working on half, what's half of 8? Why, it's 4. So we only want half a spider body, half a spider head, and half of the spider legs. So we only want 4 legs. So I say use a pencil, keep it light till you get it right. I'm going to use a Sharpie so you can see it better. If you want, you can have it look like the spider, either in the African legend, Why the Moon is in the Sky, or the Kente Cloth legend, or you can invent your own. So I might do like the hat from the legend. I like that legend. And then half a head, then the body, and then if I'm only doing half, I'm only going to do kind of like one eye here, part of its nose, part of its mouth, and then I might add a pattern like stripes on its body. And then for the 4 legs, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. So you don't want your legs too skinny, it'll be hard to cut out. Alright? When you cut it out, keep it folded. Start on your folded edge, not your open edge, but start on your folded edge, and then carefully and gently cut around your lines. And if you want, you don't have to worry about patterns and details until after you cut it out. Just worry about like head, body, and 4, half of your legs, because once you open this up, it should have symmetry, the same on both sides. So if it's the same on both sides and you have 4 legs on one side, you should have 4 on the other. And 4 plus 4 will get you the 8 legs that a spider has. So all sorts of vocabulary and skills here. Symmetry, we're using some fractions and measuring and numbers, as well as the geography and culture that you're learning from the books and slideshow from Africa, one of our 7 continents. So when I open this guy up, I now have a full head, a full body, and a full 8 legs. But of course, since I drew the eye, nose, and mouth, I'd have to go in and fill that in and kind of be like a mirror and reflect to the other side. And I had finished my stripe. And then you could add texture, like a fuzzy texture, or some polka dots, or horizontal stripes and diagonal stripes, or whatever your heart desires there too. So you could add a spider. A good tip that I like to share, back to the weaving, my brain's all over the place here, to keep your weavings in place so they don't slide around, I suggest you glue a little on the end pieces. So line up, I would like line up this blue and glue, 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 and stick, stick, stick. Then when I flip it over, I would do the same thing on the back. So you don't want it flapping in the breeze like that. So you could just glue, 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 dot, dot, not a lot, and stick it down. And you'd want to do that with all of them, because you can see if you don't glue them down, they can move and slide out of their slot. And you wouldn't want that to happen. So I'm going to transition to one that I've started earlier to show you how we can add some African symbols as well. So I made a symbols sheet so everyone in person will get to use one of these resources, but I also put it in the slideshow and have it up on the screen as well for our in-person learners. So if you're at home, you can just go back to the slideshow and look at the slide that has the African symbols on it. So the symbols mean different things. So they represent something like these 4 circular shapes represent knowledge. So if you're a smart cookie, and you're all smart cookies. Strength, this amazing 4 spiral, kind of a cross or T shape. Strength, strong. Freedom, creativity, you're all creative geniuses. The universe, kind of like an all-seeing eye. Adaptability, you're able to adapt or change to your environment. It looks like a turtle to me. Nature is like 2 hearts here. If you have a lot of energy, it's kind of like a spiral. A good luck charm. If you're careful, if you have balance, if you have teamwork, teamwork makes the dream work. I like that one. If you're full of love and friendship, if you're a tough cookie, if you have the power, if you're great, if you're courageous, you could use all these different symbols that represent you. And we could use some black and white paint to do those symbols. So I'm going to show you some different examples of weavings I have here. I did one with purple and yellow because they're complementary colors. I did one with blue and orange because they're complementary colors. I did one with red and green because they're complementary colors. And then my finished one I just did with the turquoise and green like I started with in my other, or at the beginning of this video. And I just painted and did all sorts of symbols on there, and then I added color with marker and oil pastel. You could use crayon, you could even use Sharpie. I used some silver Sharpie and gold Sharpie as well. So you can do all sorts of things. So I'll just show you real quick me painting a symbol or two. Maybe I want to do, I kind of like that freedom. So I might use my black paint here, and maybe I'll put the freedom in this red square. And you can look at the symbol, and you could paint it, draw it, color it with whatever materials you have. If you want, before you paint it or go over it with Sharpie or a oil pastel or crayon, could you use a pencil and keep it light till you get it right? Absolutely. Before you paint or do anything, it's a good idea to plan it out lightly with pencil, because if you need to, you could always erase. Now I have a little black paint there for my symbol. If I want it to stand out, I might use more contrast or a complementary color. The opposite of black is white, so I could have it stand out if I wanted to fill in part of those shapes with some white. That already makes it stand out a little bit because it's contrast. Red and green are opposite, black and white are opposite. So you could think about opposite contrasting colors. And maybe I want to do little dots in the middle there. That's pretty cool. So I added my own personal spin to the freedom symbol that was on the page. So as you continue, you can paint, you can add oil pastel, you can add all sorts of different colors and symbols. I glued my spider on, and if you don't want to make a spider like in the story, you don't have to make a spider, but if you want to, that's how you can do it. So enjoy your Kente cloth. Try to practice weaving before you glue it down. Practice your patterns, practice your contrast and opposite colors and symbols. So there's all sorts of new things that you're learning. Go to the slideshow and review as needed. Go back into the stories and read those and listen to those if you want inspiration for colors, textures, patterns, you name it. So let me know if you have any questions, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Adios, amigos.